Hi everyone, I'm Aneesh, the founder of DevVoid, and today we'll be starting the first part of this course, which is basically using AI to learn DSA. The goal of this course, firstly, is to make sure that you can use AI to learn DSA, of course. And what is DSA, right? DSA is something called data structure and algorithms, which is essentially the core of a lot of IT things, a lot of CS related topics. This allows you to think in the way true computer science engineers can think, and it really fine tunes your brain to just, it's like training, right? It's like training your AI, right? It's like using ChatGPT in the right way, right? Same thing, your brain also does at the much higher level, right? So you got to make sure that you also give the right training. That's what we're doing right now. Got to make sure that we understand the patterns, we understand the principles, a lot of different things that happens in the IT field. And that's the whole point of DSA. Now, why AI? Of course, to learn things faster and in a better way, right? If you don't use AI to learn, you're clearly going to be a little bit slower, but you're still going to learn. If you use AI to skip learning, that is, let's say you want to do coding using AI, right? That's when you're skipping learning, but you're still doing coding. Trust me, that's not going to work. That's not the process. If you do that, you might be able to do something, but that's going to be really bad. But instead, if you take a little bit more time, where that is in between, instead of not using AI for learning versus not using AI at all, but in between you use AI just for learning, not for coding, just for learning, right? There's a small difference. But this will help you to train yourself and also give you an output in a faster way. And that's really a very strong point. That's the right balance. You should never stop your learning. Second, you should never compromise on your speed, right? So I'm going to teach you how to get that perfect balance here, firstly. And then, other than that, let's make sure that we're learning DS and all of you guys can crack IT jobs, right? That's the whole goal of this. So without further ado, let's just get started, right? 4 things that we'll need to, take part in this course properly, or the setup instructions, right? Firstly would be using something called LeetCode. Make an account here, set it up. There's nothing much to do here. Just make sure you make an account. That's all that matters, right? I'm just going to do that. I'm going to use my personal account fully, not my very old account it is. And that's for LeetCode. Secondly, NeetCode.io. I already have it logged in here. And all you care about in NeetCode.io is the roadmap. So I'll tell you the purpose of each of these websites one by one after other, but let's just set things up, right? NeetCode.io, LeetCode.com, and then, so one thing that you need is something called a code editor or an integrated developer environment where you can actually write code and output the code, right? That's the whole point of this session, writing code, seeing the outputs of this code. For that, there's 3 things that I would recommend. If you want, what I prefer using most of the time is something called Visual Studio Code with Jupyter Notebook extension, which essentially looks like you just go to the visualstudio.com, download this for whatever device you're running it on, and then set up something called Jupyter Notebook extension. But that is a little bit more tedious process. So instead of that, you can even directly download Jupyter Notebook itself or use it. You can use it online directly, or you can directly use Google Colab, which is probably the fastest way to get started. So let's just focus on that, right? Use Google Colab. Now, 3 things are done: LeetCode, NeetCode, and the place to write code, which is Google Colab. Finally, the 4th thing, which is, of course, AI part, so ChatGPT, right, for learning purposes. I have, again, I believe, logged in with my other account. Yeah, okay, perfect. I do have ChatGPT Plus in my main account, but I'm not going to use that since I want to be in the same leveling or playing field as you guys, so that you can replicate the process easily without paying anything for it. That's the whole point, right? But yeah, let's, these are the 4 things. Make sure you're set up on that, and then we can get started, right? You can pause the video here, make sure everything is set up before you continue. But yeah, now I'm hoping everyone has already set up these 4 things. Now we'll just see what is the purpose of these 4. ChatGPT is, of course, for the learning part. I'm going to quickly, I have my prompt ready right here. I'm just going to copy paste this. And this is the prompt that we'll be using for our learning purpose. What does it say? Okay, I'm just going to say, hey, I'm just going to read it out, right? You are my personal coding mentor. Your role is to teach me Python from scratch and guide me through data structures, algorithms, and problem-solving techniques used in technical interviews. I want to become job ready for roles that test DSA, Python fluency, and problem solving. Your guidance should include explaining each topic clearly with Python code examples, sharing real-world use cases and interview insights, giving me practice problems sorted by concept and difficulty, providing hints, test cases, and full solutions when I need help, analyzing my mistakes and helping me build intuition, encouraging efficient, clean, and optimal code, adapting the learning path as I progress and improve. Those are the main points. Then comes, do not assume I know anything beyond basic logic. Build me up from fundamentals to advanced concepts. Let's focus only on what's needed for cracking coding interviews and get a job. That's the main focus of this. I want everyone to be able to get an IT job. That's the goal. So let's put this prompt and see what happens, right? So this is something called setting up a persona, and this can be used for the whole history of this conversation. Always make sure you set up a persona to get the most effectiveness. Sometimes this persona can be very big for context. Like some of the times I've used, I had like a very big persona. Like to give an example, it's like a 5 to 10 page PDF of as a persona, right? So depending on how you use it, there can be a lot of possibilities there. But this is what we are going to use it right now. A very simple persona. I always encourage you to try your own to learn how to make personas. But this is it, right? What does it say? Boom. Python basics, variables, data types, whatever. I'm not going to go to this is the whole point, right? I want you guys to explore this part. This is your journey, not where I am going to teach. If I do the same thing, then what's the point, right? I'm not going to read this here. You can pause it as I scroll down quickly, but that is something that you have to do. And during this course, we're just going to have it this way. I'm not going to read it out directly because that's going to be a waste of time over here. But quick scroll again back just to, keep the context there. And okay. Again, you can just pause here and see if you want. But okay. Now that that's done, that's the initial ChatGPT setup with the persona. We are not going to go more with it for now. I do want you guys to explore and try out this, ask questions, right? Like you can ask questions after this, right? Let's say, would you like to start with these problems or dive into loops and conditionals next? Let's do problems later. More topics for now. Right. Lesson 2. It has a very structured, you keep doing this. You keep reiterating over and over again, right? Until you're tired. And then take some rest, do whatever else, come back. Again, go over and ask questions, right? That's the whole part of learning. Now, the best part is now you have a one-on-one trainer using this persona system where you can ask the questions that you feel like asking. And it's highly catered towards your learning. Question-based learning is really insane, right? So you can do this. This is how I prepared for some of my interviews. But, like I said, you need to understand to use this properly. Trust me. But I'm not going to go again deep into this. This is something I want you to explore much later on. There's a lot of things here. We'll probably just use this as a context to practice ourselves. But that's all, right? So, okay. That's one thing. Then how do you use this, right? After that. Again, today is just going to be basics of using the system. We're never going to be using ChatGPT probably after this as much. Because, again, I'm trying to teach my experience to you, not just ChatGPT. But I want you to set up the baseline and explore things using this system before we proceed further. And like I said, variables and data types, these are the core concepts, right? What are these, right? And then what else comes with operators in Python, arithmetic comparison, whatever, right? Again, I'm not going to waste time reading this right now, but you can just take a look at this. Conditional statements. We're going to go to the same thing, but this is for your one-on-one training session without anyone actually being hired for one-on-one training session, right? You're saving so much money, you're still learning in the same effectiveness almost, right? Come on. Why would you not do this? It's freely available, right? I'm using all the free tools that everyone has access to. I'm not buying anything right now, right? So this is just something that I want to bring into picture so that you can, if you got any doubts, you can always approach me, but you can always ask ChatGPT with this persona setup. It's going to be insanely accurate. Now, let's go to, but again, these are just syntaxes and basics. That's why it's accurate. If you think that's still going to be accurate for more complex tasks, full stack projects, trust me, That's not how it works. The whole point of using ChatGPT right now, by the way, in coding side, is that you using your understanding and your brain have to break down the tasks into smaller and smaller sections. And these sections that you've broken down into can then be asked to ChatGPT one by one to get the answers for those small sections. And then you combine them together to make the final product that you are interested in. But the whole point is it has to be your mind that breaks them down, process by process. That's what we'll be training on. Sharpening your mind to get it to that level, right? So this is just some things that I want to go back before we proceed. This is just set up your persona however you want. You can use my prompt itself if you want. But yeah. Secondly, Google Colab. Here we can write code. I'll come to this last, I would say, actually, because we'll write code together. So I'll come to this at the end. But secondly, Google Colab. Then let's look at the actual roadmap or structure that we'll be following. Before anything, what is NeetCode? NeetCode, okay, not LeetCode, NeetCode, NeetCode. NeetCode is basically what it's mainly used for, right? It's mainly used to see the standard problems that every company will commonly ask. If you know these 150, it's called NeetCode 150. If you see here, there's a good practice. There's this thing called NeetCode 150. If you understand these 150 problems, take one problem a day, take one problem every 2 days, even. In 300 days, you will know and be able to crack any interview of any company. Trust me. In just 150 problems. You can do it faster. I'm just saying on generous estimate, I'm saying one problem a day, right? With 1 hour spent, that's all. In 150 days, you are fully cracked to attend any interview. And when I say any, I mean top tier interviews that is going to get like 50 lakh per annum or more, right? That level of interviews. I'm not saying just entry level stuff. These are really cracked stuff. Like, trust me, when I went for jobs, I didn't do even 50 of these. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what happened there. I lost my recording for a bit there. But anyways, I'm back now. But yeah, the whole point is I didn't even do 50 of these, right? And I got like a lot of good job opportunities. I got like almost 16 LPA, 17 LPA, right? That was in a while ago, but yeah, before I started my company and stuff. But yeah, so trust me. Just by doing even 40, 30, you're already at that level, right? That's what I'm trying to say. And that's what we'll be focusing on. That is in NeetCode 150. Finally, well, NeetCode 150, what is it actually? If I click on this, let's see where it goes. Okay, NeetCode 150, as you can see, is just link to LeetCode, right? And that, I'm just going to skip this because it's a new account, right? So you can see, it's actually just 150 LeetCode problems. And LeetCode is exactly where you could write the code and practice those code and see the problems on the left side, right? So LeetCode is where you actually have the problems. It's just that LeetCode, if you go to LeetCode right now and go to problems, you can see the number of, even better, I'll just go to profile. Or here, right? Yeah, you can see the amount of problems there is, right? In arrays itself, there's like 1,906 problems, like. And how many problems are there according to NeetCode? In arrays and hashing together, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9-ish, 9, 10-ish, right? That's what I'm saying. Let's focus on the real core problems, the ones that are different patterns. It's like learning maths, right? Like applying one formula in 10 problems versus one problem, right? In the same way. It's much better to understand one problem in detail than keep doing 10 different problems. That's going to be so much more time waste, in my opinion. But if you feel you are the kind of person who needs 10 problems, then I would say, well, who's stopping you from exploring LeetCode and trying those other problems? But the pattern and the formula will be same for every problem that is similar to this. That's the whole process of how it works. That's the reason NeetCode has done these nice little 150 problems, so that it has grouped these common problems into the one problem and said that if you do this, you can do it. I'll understand. By the way, best part, we also have a solution here that you can see if you're interested in that as well, right? But with explanation, there's a lot of people who do this as well. So again, If you don't like my style of teaching, then you can always explore other ones, because everyone has their own way to understand things. But this is my way of teaching, right? But trust me, you can always come back with feedback, and I'm going to do my best to use that and improve on that. So yeah, 4 things: LeetCode, NeetCode, Google Colab, and ChatGPT. Finally, why Google Colab, right? Let's say you actually want to do something else other than just LeetCode problems, right? Let's say you want to run the same things, but do some more additions, do some more exploration by yourself. That's when you can use this. So we are probably not going to use this as much on the later times, but in the initially, while practicing, while learning the basics concepts, we'll probably be using this a lot more, right? And that's how we'll proceed. But this is just a quick introduction of what and all we are going to be doing in this course, and this is just the first video where I just explain and set you up for all the plan that we have. That's it for this video. Hope to catch you in the next one.